The rising sun painted the sky with soft shades of orange and pink, announcing the start of another day in the peaceful town where Marina lived. Upon entering the library, she was greeted by the comforting aroma of old books and the soft sound of pages being turned. Marina took a deep breath, absorbing the serenity of the environment she loved so much. While organizing the books on the shelves, Marina smiled to herself, lost in daydreams about the worlds that inhabited the pages of the works she cared for. Each copy was a door to the imagination, a promise of adventure and discovery. She saw herself traveling to distant lands, delving into sweeping romances and unraveling unfathomable mysteries. As her day began, Marina not only carried out her duties as a librarian, but also nurtured the dreams that drove her. His mind was buzzing with ideas for stories he longed to tell, characters crying out for life, and scenarios waiting to be explored. Every moment of pause between appointments was an opportunity to give free rein to your imagination, to allow your fantasies to take shape on the blank pages of a notebook. "Marina, can you help me find a book about gardening?" asked an elderly woman with a kind smile. "Of course, Donna Clara. I'll take you to the gardening section right now," replied Marina, with a sparkle in her eyes that denoted her dedication to her work. While helping visitors find the books they were looking for, Marina also shared her own recommendations, guiding them through the shelves with infectious enthusiasm. She saw herself as a guardian of knowledge, a facilitator of connections between readers and stories, between curious minds and inexhaustible sources of wisdom. As the day progressed, Marina found herself immersed in her world of dreams and stories, feeding on the energy that emanated from the books that surrounded her. Every moment spent in the library was a gift, an opportunity to lose yourself in the pages of a book and emerge renewed, enriched by the experience of other lives and other worlds. As the sun reached its zenith and the visitors dispersed, Marina remained immersed in her private universe, fueling her aspirations and nurturing her dreams. She knew that, in the world of books, there were no limits to her imagination, and that every page she turned could be the beginning of a new adventure. As the day continued its course in the library, Marina saw a familiar figure entering the silent space. It was Eduardo, the university professor who had become a regular presence in that knowledge environment. His steps were firm, his erect posture denoted confidence, while his dark eyes roamed the shelves with curiosity. Marina watched him from afar, fascinated by the aura of seriousness and intelligence he emanated. She noticed the way he deftly flipped through the books, how his expressions changed as he took in the contents of the pages before him. It was evident that Eduardo not only frequented the library in search of knowledge, but also as a refuge for his inquisitive mind. When Eduardo approached the service counter, Marina felt her heart accelerate slightly. She longed for the opportunity to interact with him, to delve into deep conversations about literature and philosophy. However, she knew she needed to maintain her composure, act professionally in front of such an illustrious visitor. "Hello, Marina," Eduardo greeted, his soft voice echoing through the quiet environment of the library. "Hello, Eduardo," replied Marina, trying to contain the emotion that threatened to overflow. "How can I help you today?" Eduardo smiled gently, his eyes shining with interest. "I'm looking for some books on ancient history. Do you have any recommendations?" Marina nodded, her heart pounding at the opportunity to share her knowledge with someone so eager to learn. "Of course, I have some suggestions that I think you'll like. Come with me, I'll show you the history section." As she led Eduardo through the shelves, Marina couldn't help but notice the silent connection that existed between them. Despite their differences in age and background, there was an affinity that transcended words, a mutual understanding that manifested itself through a shared love of reading and learning. As they explored the book-filled corridors, Marina felt closer to Eduardo than ever. She knew that meeting was not just a coincidence, but rather the beginning of a journey that could change their lives forever. And as they continued to talk about ancient history and their shared passions, Marina could barely contain the excitement that bubbled up inside her. As time passed in the library, Marina found herself increasingly involved in interactions with patrons, especially Eduardo. Every moment shared with him was like a piece of an emotional puzzle, where each exchange of words revealed new layers of understanding and connection. As Marina helped visitors find the books they were looking for, her eyes occasionally met Eduardo's, and a discreet smile was exchanged between them. It was as if there was nonverbal communication, a shared language that transcended words and gestures. On a sunny afternoon, Marina found Eduardo examining the titles in the poetry section. She approached him cautiously, feeling her heart beat faster as she prepared to start a conversation. "Hello, Eduardo," greeted Marina, her smile lighting up her face as she approached him. Eduardo looked up from the book he was leafing through and returned Marina's smile. "Hello, Marina. How are you today?" Marina felt a comforting warmth spread across her chest as she replied, "I'm fine, thank you. How about you?" Eduardo nodded, his eyes reflecting the serenity of the surroundings. "I'm great. I found some fascinating poems here." Marina nodded, enchanted by Eduardo's passion for poetry. "Yes, this section has some hidden treasures. If you need any recommendations, I'm happy to help." They talked for a few minutes about the poems that Eduardo was exploring, sharing opinions and impressions about the verses and the evocative images they found on the pages of the books. As the afternoon progressed, Marina and Eduardo immersed themselves in conversations on a variety of topics, from literature to philosophy and history. Each exchange of words was like a dance of ideas, an intellectual game that brought them even closer. As the sun set over the horizon and visitors began to leave the library, Marina realized that she had found Eduardo more than just a regular visitor. He was a soul companion, someone with whom she shared a special connection, an affinity that transcended the boundaries of space and time. And as they said goodbye that day, Marina couldn't wait for the next meeting that awaited them, eager to find out where their journey would take them next. Despite the aura of closeness they shared, Marina found herself in an emotional dilemma. Her feelings for Eduardo grew with each encounter, weaving a delicate web of hope and uncertainty in her heart. Determined to convey her feelings in some way, she resorted to small gestures, hoping that they would speak louder than the words she feared to express. On a sunny afternoon, Marina prepared a special cup of tea, carefully chosen from Eduardo's favorites. With a nervous smile on her lips, she approached him, offering the cup with a kindness that she hoped would be understood as a gesture of affection. "Eduardo, I brought you a cup of your favorite tea." "I hope you like it," Marina said, her eyes searching his for any sign of recognition. Eduardo accepted the cup with a polite nod, but his expression remained impenetrable. "Thank you, Marina. That's very kind of you." Marina's heart sank as she watched Eduardo take a sip of tea, her hopes crumbling at the lack of response. She wondered if her intentions had been misinterpreted, if her gestures of affection had fallen on deaf ears. Determined not to give up, Marina continued to express her feelings in subtle ways, through smiles and loving looks. She hoped that her emotions would overflow into her body language, that Eduardo could read between the lines and understand what she couldn't say in words. However, as the days turned into weeks, Marina realized that her attempts at communication were not producing the desired results. Eduardo continued to treat her cordially, but their interactions remained superficial, their emotions locked within an impenetrable fortress. Discouraged, Marina wondered if she would ever be able to break down the barriers that separated their hearts, if her hopes for a deeper connection with Eduardo were doomed to failure. But despite the disillusionment that consumed her, she refused to completely abandon the possibility that, one day, her feelings could finally be recognized and reciprocated. As Marina struggled to understand the complex feelings that consumed her, she found comfort in Dona Teresa's wise advice, a constant presence in the library, and an invaluable source of wisdom and understanding. One quiet afternoon, as Marina was arranging the books on the shelves, Dona Teresa approached her with a warm smile, her eyes shining with the wisdom accumulated over the years. "Marina, my dear, I realize there is a weight on your heart. Would you like to share your burdens with me?" asked Dona Teresa, her voice soft and comforting. Marina nodded, feeling relieved to have someone to share her worries with. "Miss Teresa, I've been feeling a whirlwind of emotions lately. I'm in love with someone, but I don't know if my feelings are reciprocated. I feel lost and confused. Donna Teresa placed a gentle hand on Marina's shoulder, giving her a sense of support and comfort. My dear, love is a complex journey, full of ups and downs. It's important to remember that we can't always control other people's feelings, but we can control how we choose to deal with our own. Marina absorbed Donna Teresa's words with gratitude, her doubts and fears slowly dissipating as she allowed herself to accept the wise lady's advice. It's hard to accept that I can't control someone else's feelings, Marina confessed, her eyes shining with a mixture of sadness and resignation. Donna Teresa smiled, her serene expression conveying a sense of hope. True, my dear. But remember that true love is not just about being loved in return, but also about giving freely, even if it means getting nothing in return. Continue to follow your heart, Marina, and the right path will open up for you. Donna Teresa's comforting words echoed in Marina's mind, filling her with determination and courage to face the challenges that awaited her. With a grateful smile on her lips, Marina thanked Donna Teresa for her guidance, knowing that, with her help, she would find the path to happiness, regardless of what the future held. Decided to follow her heart and pursue her dreams, Marina dove headfirst into the world of writing. Every free moment he found between his responsibilities in the library was dedicated to writing his first novel, a story that had been simmering in his mind for a long time and that finally came to life on the pages of his notebook. One peaceful night, after finishing another day at the library, Marina found herself in her room, surrounded by stacks of books and papers. With a pen in her hand and a flame of determination shining in her eyes, she began to draw the opening lines of her story, letting her imagination flow freely. Chapter 1. One day, in a small town, a young librarian named Marina found herself immersed in a journey of self-discovery and adventure. Marina muttered to herself as the words came to life before her. As the story unfolded in her mind, Marina felt a sense of excitement and anticipation rise within her. Every character, every scene, every dialogue was an extension of his own soul, an expression of his deepest desires and aspirations. As time passed, Marina found herself increasingly involved in the plot of her romance, losing herself in the intricate webs of love, mystery, and adventure that she skillfully wove. His characters came to life before his eyes, their voices echoing in his mind as if they were real. With each word written, Marina felt closer to her goal, more determined to pursue her dream of becoming a writer. She knew the path ahead would be filled with challenges and uncertainty, but she was also aware that each obstacle would be an opportunity to grow and learn. As the pages of her novel filled with Marina's story and her characters, she knew she was on the right path. Her heart was overflowing with gratitude and happiness, knowing that she was following her passion and honoring the gift of writing that had been bestowed upon her. With a radiant smile on her lips and a feeling of accomplishment in her heart, Marina continued to write, knowing that each word was a step towards fulfilling her deepest desires and aspirations. And so, with determination and courage, she embarked on the journey of a lifetime, ready to face any challenge that destiny had in store for her. Determined to pursue her passion for writing, Marina dove into her novel project with renewed dedication. Every word that flowed from her pen to paper was an expression of her commitment to her dream of becoming a writer. However, one event in particular played a crucial role in his journey, reading Stephen King's book on writing. After a day of work at the library, Marina returned home and found Stephen King's book among the copies on her shelf. Curious, she decided to leaf through it, hoping to find inspiration in the words of the renowned author. As Marina delved into the pages of the book, she found herself captivated by King's stories and advice. She absorbed every word like a sponge, eager to learn from the experience of a master writer. King's lessons about the importance of discipline, persistence, and passion resonated deeply within her, fueling her determination to pursue her novel project. As Marina applied King's insights to her own writing, she noticed a change within herself. His confidence grew, his voice became stronger, and his words flowed with renewed energy. She found herself more willing to take creative risks, more open to exploring new ideas and perspectives. Stephen King's book not only inspired her, but also challenged her to overcome her own limits and pursue her dreams with even more fervor. Marina knew that the journey ahead of her would be arduous and full of challenges, but she was determined to face them with courage and determination. As she continued to write, Marina carried with her the lessons learned from Stephen King, always remembering the power of writing to transform lives and touch hearts. With every word she added to her novel, she knew she was honoring not only her own talent, but also the legacy of one of the greatest writers of all time. On a golden sunny afternoon, while Marina was immersed in her work in the library, an unknown figure entered the place. It was Felipe, a journalist with a captivating smile and eyes that shone with a passion for literature that matched Marina's. "Excuse me, could you help me find some books on literary journalism?" Felipe asked, his tone tinged with curiosity. Marina looked up, surprised by the request and the unexpected encounter. "Of course, I can help you with that. My name is Marina, by the way." "A pleasure, Marina." "I'm Felipe," he replied, extending his hand in greeting. As Marina led Felipe through the stacks, the two engaged in a lively conversation about literature, sharing their passions and opinions about the books they loved. Quickly, Marina realized that she had found a kindred spirit in Felipe, someone who shared her devotion to writing and reading. As they talked, Marina felt more and more at ease in Felipe's presence, his contagious energy dispelling any trace of nervousness. She found herself laughing at his jokes, getting lost in his stories, and admiring his passion for life. As they explored the library aisles together, Marina and Felipe shared personal stories and dreams for the future. She was delighted to discover that he was an avid reader of her favorite genre and an admirer of her work as a librarian and aspiring writer. As the sun sank below the horizon and the library began to empty, Marina realized that she had found something special in Felipe, something she hadn't experienced with anyone else before. There was a connection between them, a chemistry that was impossible to ignore. When Felipe finally prepared to leave, he gave Marina a meaningful look. "It was a pleasure meeting you, Marina. I hope we can meet again soon." Marina smiled, feeling a wave of heat flood her chest. "I hope so too, Felipe. See you soon." As Marina continued to engage with Felipe, a subtle shift began to occur in the dynamic between her and Eduardo. Their meetings in the library became marked by lingering glances and furtive smiles, as Eduardo began to realize the depth of Marina's literary talent. One afternoon, while Marina was immersed in her work, Eduardo approached her with a hesitant expression on his face. "Marina, can I talk to you for a moment?" Marina looked up, surprised by Eduardo's direct approach. "Of course, Eduardo. What's wrong?" Eduardo hesitated for a moment before finally continuing. "I have noticed your talent as a writer, Marina. I read some of your pages and was impressed. You are truly talented." Marina was speechless, surprised and touched by the sincerity in Eduardo's words. "Thank you, Eduardo. It means a lot to me to hear that from you." As they talked, Marina noticed a change in Eduardo's expression, a shadow of discomfort that settled in his eyes. She noticed he was looking at her in a different way, a mix of admiration and something else. As the days passed, Marina watched Eduardo's transformation with increasing fascination. Their gazes became more intense, their tone of voice more charged with emotion. She noticed that he was beginning to feel jealous of the growing closeness between her and Felipe, his interest piqued not only by his literary skills, but also by her connection with another man. As Marina tried to understand the complexities of Eduardo's feelings, she found herself torn between the excitement of her new connection with Felipe and the uncertainty of what the future held with Eduardo. She wondered if she would be able to reconcile the two sides of her heart, if she could find a way to move forward without hurting those she valued most. And so, as the drama unfolded around her, Marina found herself plunged into a whirlwind of emotions, desperately searching for a way to find peace and happiness amid the chaos of her feelings. The long-awaited moment finally arrived for Marina. After months of dedication and hard work, Her novel was ready to be shared with the world. With a heart racing with excitement and nervousness, she sent her manuscript to several publishers, anxiously awaiting a response. Days passed, feeling like an eternity for Marina, until finally she received a notification in her inbox. With shaking hands, she opened the email and read the words that would change her life forever. Her work had been accepted for publication. Emotion overflowed inside Marina as she absorbed the news. She could hardly believe that her dream was coming true, that her passion for writing was being recognized in such a meaningful way. With tears of joy in her eyes, she shared the news with her friends and family, receiving applause and congratulations on her achievement. The day of her novel's release finally arrived, and Marina was beaming with happiness as she signed copies of her book for the excited fans who gathered around her. She felt a sense of deep gratitude for everyone who supported her throughout her journey, from Donna Teresa, who encouraged her to pursue her dreams, to Felipe, who always believed in her talent. As the weeks turned into months, Marina's success as a writer continued to grow. His novel received praise from critics and readers, gaining prominence on bestseller lists and winning literary awards. She found herself traveling the country to attend literary events and speaking engagements, sharing her inspiring story with other aspiring writers. As she contemplated the path she had taken, Marina felt a deep sense of accomplishment. She had found her voice as a writer, overcoming the challenges and obstacles that came her way. She discovered that true success is not only measured by professional recognition, but also by the emotional and personal journey that led her there. With a smile on her face and a heart full of gratitude, Marina knew she was exactly where she belonged, in the place where her dreams came true and her passions found purpose. And so, with determination and perseverance, she would continue to write her own story, chapter by chapter, inspiring others to never give up on their own dreams. With the success of her novel, Marina found not only professional fulfillment, but also a new dimension in her personal life. Amidst the spotlight and recognition, she discovered an even deeper connection with Felipe, whose support and admiration has always been a constant source of strength and inspiration. One sunny afternoon, as they walked together through the city's gardens, Marina felt enveloped by a feeling of serenity and happiness. She looked at Felipe beside her, her eyes meeting his with a special shine. "Felipe, I wanted to thank you for being by my side throughout this journey. Your support has meant more to me than you can imagine," Marina said, her voice full of emotion. Felipe smiled, his eyes overflowing with tenderness. "Marina, you know I'm here for you at all times. Seeing you achieve your dreams is the greatest reward I could ask for." As they walked together, Marina felt her heart fill with gratitude and love for Felipe. She realized that he was always there for her, celebrating her victories and supporting her in her most difficult times. And now, more than ever, she wanted to express her feelings for him in a way that was as meaningful as the support he had given her. "Felipe, there's something I want to tell you," began Marina, her words filled with determination. "I realized that you are not only my friend and my supporter, but also the person I admire and love most in this world. I can't imagine my life without you by my side, and I would love to have the chance to explore a relationship more deep between us." Marina's words hung in the air, filling the space between them with an emotionally charged energy. She held her breath, waiting for Felipe's response. Felipe looked at Marina with a mixture of surprise and joy in his eyes. "Marina, I've waited so long for this moment." "I feel the same way about you too. I would love to start this new chapter in our lives together." With a radiant smile, Marina felt overwhelmed by a wave of happiness and relief. She knew that, with Felipe by her side, there was no challenge they couldn't face together. And so, as the sun set over the horizon, Marina and Felipe embarked on a new journey of love and adventure, ready to face the future hand in hand. While Marina delved into her new relationship with Felipe, a shadow hung over Eduardo. He realized, too late, how important Marina had always been in his life, and how he missed precious opportunities by not paying attention to her before. One night, After the library closed, Eduardo waited until all the visitors had left before approaching Marina, his heart heavy with the weight of his regret. "Marina, can I talk to you for a moment?" Eduardo asked, his voice full of contained emotion. Marina nodded, surprised by the seriousness in his expression. "Of course, Eduardo. What's going on?" Eduardo took a deep breath, trying to find the right words to express his feelings. "Marina, I've been reflecting a lot lately, and I realized that I made a big mistake by not valuing you the way you deserved. I was so focused on my own career that I neglected what was right in front of my eyes." Marina looked at Eduardo with compassion, recognizing the sincerity in his words. "Eduardo, I appreciate your honesty, but things have changed between us. I found a special connection with Felipe, and he makes me happy in a way I never thought possible." Eduardo lowered his head, accepting the painful truth of his words. "I understand, Marina. You deserve all the happiness in the world, even if I'm not part of it. I just wanted you to know that I deeply regret not realizing how much you mean to me sooner." Marina placed a comforting hand on Eduardo's shoulder. "Eduardo, you will always be an important part of my life. Our experiences together have shaped who I am, and I will always cherish our friendship." With one last look full of regret, Eduardo walked away, leaving Marina to her own reflections. She knew that Eduardo's words would echo in her mind for a while, but she was also confident that she was following the right path alongside Felipe. As time passed, Marina found a renewed peace in her relationship with Felipe, knowing that she had found the true love and fulfillment she had been searching for. And as she looked to the future alongside Felipe, she held a special place in her heart for Eduardo, always remembering what could have been, but gratefully accepting what was. The end.